What is an aquifer? An aquifer is an underground body of rock or sediment that serves as a storage reservoir for large volumes of groundwater. Also, it contains interconnected open spaces, has good porosity and permeability, and might be composed of sediments or rocks. Before we proceed, let us define first what is a confining unit. A confining unit is a rock or sediment that restricts groundwater flow and is located adjacent to an aquifer. Also, it contains few connected open spaces, has no permeability or low permeability, and might be composed of clay or rock. Aquifers can be classified into two types. First, unconfined open aquifer. It is a type of aquifer that is connected to the surface and can experience fluctuation in its water level. In an unconfined aquifer, water flows downward through small spaces or fractures to fill gaps in the rock or sediment. Also, the position of water level may vary due to two reasons. First, seasonal precipitation changes brought by drought or typhoons. Second, changes in groundwater consumption. In contrast, confined closed aquifer is a type of aquifer bounded above and below by impenetrable beds of rock that has a lower permeability. In a confined aquifer, water doesn't enter as easily as it does in an unconfined aquifer, as water flowing downward are blocked by a confining layer. So, in a confined aquifer, water enters from a higher elevation and flows downslope to fill an aquifer layer, but is stuck due to confining layers above and below of it.
Surging demand for water and such related practices as overdrafting have burdened aquifers and connected ecosystems in recent decades. This body of water underground needs protecting from different types of pollution and subject to slow but inevitable depletion. Groundwater depletion is a term most often used to describe the decline in water levels as a consequence of intensified pumping water from the aquifers. Depleted aquifers are vulnerable to both natural and man-made contamination. With nature, elements such as radon and arsenic can leach into aquifers that have been drawn down. Man-made pollutants, once thought to be filtered out by the soil, are known to harm water quality as well. The contaminants include industrial solvent and pesticides.
Groundwater depletion is a serious threat to the environment, so we came up with these solutions. Firstly, as individuals, one of the things that we can do to make a difference is to use less water for luxury purposes. Considering the impending crisis of a mass water shortage, everyone should do their part to use less water whenever possible. Secondly, we should reduce our use of chemicals and dispose them properly, especially the water from businesses and private residences that run into the streets and sewage systems. These chemicals find their way into larger bodies of water and absorb into the ground, poisoning animals in the soil. By using less chemicals and discarding of them carefully, we keep them from adding toxic materials into our water supply. Lastly, we should find an alternative sources of water. It can be used to help replenish aquifers. Deriving water from other sources would also give aquifers time to refill instead of pumping too much water from them at once.
Aquifers play an important role to the people as a source of fresh water, especially for urban areas. About 97% of planet's liquid fresh water is stored in aquifers. It is the primary source of drinking water for more than 1.5 billion people worldwide. Aquifers also play a big role for agricultural irrigation, which helps to grow agricultural crops, maintain landscape, and revegetate disturbed soils in dry areas and during periods of less than average rainfall.
An aquifer is a body of rock and sediment that holds groundwater. Groundwater is the word used to describe precipitation that has infiltrated the soil beyond the surface and collected in empty spaces underground. There are two general types of aquifers, confined and unconfined. Confined aquifers have a layer of impenetrable rock or clay above them, while unconfined aquifers lie below a porous layer of soil. We humans rely on aquifers for most of our living and economic requirements. We tend to overuse this for our drinking requirements, agricultural purposes, and industrial uses. Thus, we became a major reason for its depletion. Aside from that, we also contribute to its destruction through pollution and contamination by human agricultural and industrial activities. Water is life, and the future of the world lies in its proper utilization and protection. Thus, we have to work together and promote informed policy decisions that address the aquifer's vulnerabilities.